Hey guys, I'm Evan. Welcome to Country View Acres. So yesterday the Township Road Commissioner, he came by here and he looked at the concrete and we talked about it, and he said I could dump all of this concrete at their township building where they store their equipment, and it is only like 5 miles away. It's not very far. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to try to get all of the concrete loaded up. We're going to try to get it all hauled off, and then afterwards we're going to try to just clean up that build site and get it ready to start laying out the new building. No way, that's as far as it goes. All right, got the first load of concrete unloaded, so let's start loading up some more. So that first load of concrete, I put that in the dump trailer with the excavator, and I had some people comment that wouldn't it be faster to use a loader, and I totally agree. I think a loader would be faster. The problem is I just tore down, a building right here, and I'm afraid that there might be some nails scattered around here, and I didn't really want to pop a tire. Of course, the excavator doesn't have tires. So it seemed like the ideal machine to me, but it was slower. So what I want to do now, I think I can just take the excavator and the front blade and I can push this concrete back where it's a little bit farther away, and then I'll probably be less chance of getting into some nails. And we'll try loading all this up with the grapple on the tractor. All right, we got the concrete pile moved over now. It's probably at least 8 feet away from where the side of the building used to be. So as long as I keep the tractor on this side over here in the grass, probably won't get into any nails. Figure I'd use the Easton made grapple today. I think it will do well picking up concrete. And this will be the first time I've used it on this bigger tractor. All right, got another load of concrete. Not for sure, this may have a little bit more in it than we did on the first load. But I thought the first load, it held just fine. So we'll go ahead and take this down there and then we'll load up another one. All right, we got load number 3 in the trailer. Should just be one more load after this. All right, I got all of the concrete pieces picked up, got them in the dump trailer. There might be a few small pieces like baseball size buried in the dirt here, but I'm not worried about that. So we'll go ahead, we'll get this last load dumped, and then we'll come back and we'll start trying to get this all leveled out and straightened up. So the old shed that sat here on the back side, there used to be a bunch of trees and I cut them down. So there's still a bunch of stumps and roots and stuff on the ground. And I'm gonna take the excavator and see if I can just scratch through here, pull up any roots and stumps that I can find. And then after that, we'll just do our best to level everything out. right, I think I got all of the big roots and stumps all picked up out of here. As we look inside the trailer, you can see I ended up picking up quite a few, right? I mean, there's a lot more in the ground than you would have thought. So now I just got to go back over it with the angle blade on the front of the excavator and see if we can get all this dirt pushed back in, fill in the hole, see if we can level everything out. All right, I just finished up. I've got all the holes filled in. I used the word level, and it's definitely not level, but I do have everything compacted a little bit and filled in. It is a little bit wavy. It's not perfect. We'll come back another day and we'll grade this exactly the way we want to. But first I need to know how big my shed's gonna be. I haven't decided yet. Well, I thought the dump trailer worked out pretty good today, hauling the concrete. It did probably scratch up the bed a little bit, but I think that's to be expected, hauling big chunks of concrete like that. But I don't think I really dented it up. I saw one little maybe ding in the bed, and that's probably where some piece of concrete dropped and hit the bed pretty hard. But other than that, besides a few scratches, the trailer did fine. And the Easton made grapple did fine too, especially since this is AR 400 steel. This is pretty hard. And you can see we pushed through all that concrete. They're not dented at all. They're not bent, they're not dented. Everything, besides, you know, a few scratches from concrete, everything's in the exact condition when we started today. So I think this worked out good. Of course, it's got more of a bucket style, right? So it can hold some of that concrete, sift out some of the dirt, some of that clay wants to stick. But the bad thing is, you know, some of these pieces, they're probably 7 inches apart from each other, somewhere in there. And, you know, some of the pieces of concrete would fall through as well. But I think it worked out fairly well, way quicker than loading with the excavator. And the more and more I operate this excavator, the more I get comfortable. I feel like that I'm, you know, like digging better. I'm moving more smooth, grabbing things a little bit better. So I feel like I'm starting to get the hang of it. And I can tell that, you know, there's still some worn out pins on here in the arm and in the boom, like the up and down, that sometimes you get some like jerking in that, and you can hear it, just the slop in those pins. And I'll probably try to work on it this winter and replace some more of the pins in the machine. And then there's a few other little things, but other than that, you know, the excavator is actually working pretty good right now, I think. There you are, Ellie. How are you? Are you doing good? Yeah? Where's your calf at? Here's Teddy. He's laying down. Aren't you, buddy? You doing all right? Well, Teddy's like almost 5 days old now. He's doing good. He still doesn't seem to mind us too much. So Rebecca informed me not to feed Ellie tonight, that she was gonna do it because she needed her time with Teddy. She likes to come out and check on him. In fact, she just got home a few minutes ago. It looks like she's jumping in the side-by-side now. She's probably gonna come out and feed him. So we're waiting 1 week before we start to milk Ellie. So that means I've got a couple more days. I'm gonna have to try to build a milk stanchium or something to be able to feed her and milk her. That's something we'll probably do for the first time here later this week. I'm gonna take all these stumps and roots, I'm gonna go dump them in the burn pit. I'm gonna grab a 100-foot measuring tape, and we'll come back and we'll do some measuring here, and we'll see if we can figure out exactly how big this new shed's gonna be. There she goes, feed Ellie. So I want this new shed to be a little farther off the driveway, that way I have enough room to turn and pull straight in, or maybe to back equipment into the trailer. So I'm thinking somewhere close to 14 feet. We'll see how that pans out. Before, the front of this was only about 8 feet off of the driveway. Now we'll see how long we can make the shed. So right here is 60 feet. That'd probably be decent size. I could probably go as big as 72 feet long. So somewhere in there, 60 to 72 feet long. 14 feet would be about there. So if we did a 60-foot building, that would be the corner. So if I make the building 24 feet deep, it'll be right here. So I may end up having to move this chestnut tree. So then my other corner would be right about here. So off of this corner, about 10 feet away, we have this walnut tree right here. And I want to be able to drive a tractor through here and get behind the building. So that's a tight spot right there. So I'll probably end up having to take this tree down as well. So that ain't too bad. One tree to take down, and then the other one, we'll probably try to dig that up as best we can with the excavator and try to transplant it somewhere else. So it looks like I'll be building a shed that's probably 60 feet long and 24 feet deep. Now I could possibly go 72 feet long if I wanted to. I'd have to transplant one more chestnut tree. We'll just have to wait and see, but I definitely want it 24 feet deep, because if I had a tractor, say I had like a grapple or a pallet forks on the front of the tractor, and then I had the bush hog on the back, I should still be able to park the tractor in the shed with both implements on it. So that's why I wanted it to be at least that deep. So it'll probably be a few weeks before I can get all the material and start building the new shed. The only thing I can do now is just try to level the site off as best I can. And I may build it up. I probably will build it up. We'll probably bring in a little bit of fill. And I'd like to make sure that it's definitely higher in the ground so there's no chance that water can get in. I'd like it to have it built up to at least the same height as the driveway. But this is going to be a whole new experience for me. I've never built a pole barn before. The workshop, I hired an Amish crew to build that, the same crew that built my house. And I've watched people build pole barns. I've watched videos on it. So I mean, I think I understand the whole process, and it'll be interesting to do it for the first time and then try to do most of it by myself. So I think that will be a little bit of a challenge. And if we get lucky, hopefully we can get the concrete poured before winter. If not, I'll be happy just to have a roof, just to have a roof up to park my equipment under, and then I can pour concrete next year if I have to. So that's like the minimum goal that I'm shooting for, is to at least have a structure and a roof to park equipment in. But it's already after 5:30 in the evening now, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.